One. All right, here we go. Welcome in November the 22nd. How'd you just let that sit in there for a minute here? It is Friday, people, 2019. It is time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by SportsMemo.com. I'm Joe Raineri, joined by you know the crew here, Ski Prophet, Bryan, Leonard, Rob Veno, all here today, guys, to get you ready for a 10-game slate tonight in the NBA. And, of course, want to ask you guys, don't forget, make sure you head over to not only WagerTalk.com, which you can find, of course, Bryan and Ski there, ready to rock and roll. But don't forget, Rob Veno, you can get him over at SportsMemo.com. Plays are ready to rock and roll. Plenty of action on the board here tonight. And like we do, guys, we'll start with doing a little recap of what we had going on last night here. And, Ski, I'll start with you because we did the show yesterday. It was, 2 games we had to choose from over there. But how about Melo? God damn, huh? What do you think? Talk to me. Carmelo Anthony for president, man. What'd you think of that game?
I'm going to be completely honest. I had the under, and I fell asleep because I wasn't enjoying what was going on. So that was the one loser. And but the winner was the dog of the day, the Pelicans. They won outright, so yes. That was great.
Yep, that was a lot of fun there. Listen, I'm watching I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are in Portland. I'm like, are they pulling people out of the stands to play because they don't have anybody? Like, seriously? Like, give me a break over there. Did you see it, Bryan? Did you see them scoring, at the over 240 points together combined? I figured Milwaukee would be okay, but really, Portland?
Yeah, it's a situation right now with Portland. They're just going to try to outscore everybody, I think. They just don't have very good defense at this point with some of the guys that are missing. But, I was against Ski yesterday. I had Phoenix, and I never had a chance in that game. That was clearly the wrong side, and I'm looking to get it back today.
All right, there you go. And, of course, say hello to Rob Veno at Rob Veno Sports, SportsMemo.com. So, Rob, your first time joining us here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. So talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the NBA for you, what you've been doing this year, all of that happy horse shit.
Yeah, I wasn't involved last night with either of the games, guys, but I did catch the that string of points by the New Orleans Pelicans in either the third or fourth. I mean, J.J. Redick was on fire. I think they were 10 for 10 to start the quarter, to start the second half. Nobody could miss a shot, obviously. Like Bryan said, Phoenix had to, swim upstream all second half long. But NBA's been good to me, guys. The last 2+ weeks, 11-2 in the NBA, so that's a nice run. Glad to be on it, especially with so many things going on at once. Like you say, we've got to focus on college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball is overwhelming. But, no, the NBA's been kind for the most part. I'm 80% totals, 20% sides. I focus a little bit more on these totals. So that's what you'll probably hear from me most when I'm on this show. I'll be talking from a totals perspective.
All right, there you go. Rob Veno, SportsMemo.com. Guys, let's head over to the market, see what's going on here today. Again, a 10-game slate here tonight. And, Ski, I'll start with you because a couple of interesting line movements. Number one, here's a team, guys, that plays – and I can't believe – well, no defense, let's face it. The Washington Wizards here, guys. Charlotte Hornets, Washington Wizards, 7 p.m. here tonight. Opened up as the Wizards, a 5-point favorite at home. It has since moved a full point. We're looking at a lot of 6s, even maybe a 6.5 or 2 that's out there. The total was at 233. It's only inched up a little bit. But, Ski, like we've talked about here, we talked about Washington earlier in the week. Don't expect a lot. Expect scoring, but don't expect a whole lot of defense here tonight, man.
Yeah, I agree completely. No defense. And for the Charlotte side, I mean, they're not really going to play defense either. Washington wants to play fast. So I agree towards the over. I mean, I'm not playing any Wizards games under, so it'll be over a pass. As far as this game in general, if you like Charlotte, you like the first half. I think the Wizards are a fade on the first half at home, 1-3-1 first half against the spread. So that's the only way I would lean. Charlotte first half or the over.
What do you think, Bryan? You're a big Wizards fan here. You like the totals every time with them when you look at those games?
I happen to think this may be a correlated parlay, regardless of what side you like here, because Charlotte's not a team that puts a lot of points on the board. They scored 91 and 96 the last couple of nights. Washington's team is just going out, and that's really what they're trying to do, is outscore you. scored 137 just a few days ago against Minnesota, 138 against San Antonio on Wednesday. So I don't have a play on it, but I could see if you're looking to play this, if you look like Charlotte, I think the under is probably a nice segment to go with it. And if you like Washington, I think the over is the right way to go in this one. So maybe correlated parlay, but I'm sitting this one out personally.
All right, Rob, what do you think over there? You like the well, listen, the Wizards can score points. Do you generally, Rob, look at maybe first half and break them up as opposed to full game plays?
I think I look at full game first and then go from that angle, Joe, and come backwards to first half or even as in-game goes, second half. A lot of times with these games, like I'm with Bryan here, no play on this particular game from a first half or full game standpoint, but you get into this in-game and all of a sudden you see these plays popping up on games you didn't like to begin with, so that's always a third option there and sometimes the most profitable one. But I'll say this about the Wizards. It's real difficult, Joe, to be, when you dig into the analytics, to have the second best off in the NBA and still be negative overall because their defensive rating is 1.2 points worse than the offensive rating. So, in all sports nowadays, it's difficult to pull the trigger on unders. It really is, because the scoring in almost every sport right now is way up. Obviously, odds makers compensate for it, but Detroit home games this year, just so we can get a little grasp on what's going on with the Wizards, their home games are averaging 251 points total per game. That's well over the number they're asking for tonight. So 250.8 to be exact, but it's a huge number when Washington's at home.
Yeah, so you don't expect defense. If you're trying to teach the little ones at home there, Ski, I'm thinking maybe this is not the game that you want to teach hustle and defense on. Is that what you're thinking?
Definitely not. And also, just hearing everybody speak, I mean, the first half over looks good. Looking at Charlotte, first half points per game, they're number 12. Washington is number 2. And the over for Washington at home is 5-1. They went over 4 of their last 5 games, so why not take the first half over as well?
There you go. All right, game number 2 up on the board here, guys, and I'm seeing some movement on. Interesting, too, as of recording. We got 3 games that seem to be bet more than everything else right now, and one of those is, how about the Detroit Pistons, man? Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks. Pistons at home opened up as a 5.5-point favorite. It has moved to 6.5, 6.5 in a lot of places. The total is stagnant there at 225. Well, we know Atlanta can score points. Not sure if Detroit can score that many points, but when you look at this, and I think we've lost Bryan and company there. I don't know what happened to them there, Ski. So I'll ask you. We'll get them back. I'll ask you, man, what are your thoughts about Detroit and Atlanta at this point?
Well, one thing we know about Atlanta for sure is they're not playing any defense. Ever since Collins has been out, the defense has went down the drain. Detroit, great over team. I don't think Detroit has any trouble here. I think it's a buy low spot on Detroit. I know the line is 6, but I think if you want to play Detroit, you want to play them early. The first half over in this game for Detroit is 11-3. Detroit first half points per game is 14. First half points per game for Atlanta is 24. They kind of turned on in the second half. The over for Atlanta is it's went over the last 7 games, 5-2 on the road. I like the over. I like Detroit on the first half. If you're a guy who likes team totals, you like Detroit team total over.
All right, like Detroit team total over, and I'm trying to get these other guys back. Can you guys hear me there, Rob? Can you hear me on via the video here?
Yeah, I can definitely.
All right.
I can definitely hear you, Joe, and I can see everybody except for you. I can see Ski and I can see Bryan.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same situation. I see the guys.
So you can see us,
studio,
but all right. So we can't see you, huh? What a bag of crap that is. All right. So let's see. This is it's always fun.
You're doing everybody a favor if you block them all out.
It's kind of a good point over there. So I'll go to you here, Bri. Talk to me about the possibility of the Detroit Pistons at home and the Atlanta Hawks, and them actually laying that kind of number.
Yeah, I think the line is probably about where it should be at this point. I think Detroit's going to have a big advantage down low in this game. The Hawks aren't that tall, and Detroit's really got a nice front court there. They should have some ability to get in there. And these two teams played, at least Atlanta played Detroit for their season opener in that game, and Atlanta wins that game 117-100. Stayed under the 222 total. Atlanta played very well there. In fact, Atlanta started the season playing very well. Then they faded, and they've really faded when they got out to L.A. So it's a different team right now for Detroit from when they saw Atlanta the first time. So slight edge to Detroit, I think, here, but I probably won't be getting involved.
All right. And Rob, what do you think, man? Atlanta Hawks, Detroit Pistons here. Total staying the same at 225. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's a game I like, Joe, and I'm going to expand on what Bryan said because those are a couple of reasons why I like this thing over the total. I agree with the line movement here. You know, that first game of the year was a 117-100 game. They got to 217 tonight. They're asking for 225. But in that game, Blake Griffin didn't play. John Collins did for the Atlanta side. Blake Griffin didn't for the other side, so we add Griffin to the mix. Trae Young went crazy, had 38 points in that particular game, tore up the Detroit backcourt, so I could see that happening once again. Detroit's got enough shooters around Griffin and Drummond. That's the other point that Bryan made that I want to talk about here, because those two guys down low versus what should be Jabari Parker and Damian Jones, or DeAndre Hunter and Damian Jones, just seems like mismatches. If you're looking for player props, I'd probably go see where Andre Drummond is listed tonight for points and rebounds. Maybe go see what Blake Griffin is listed at tonight for points, rebounds, and I think in his case you might get assists as well. But I think both of these teams are going to score, Joe. The fundamental matchups indicate that we'll get points from the front court of Detroit. We'll get points from the backcourt of Atlanta. Atlanta plays, as we know, as has been documented here, zero defense. So I'm going to stick with that play. I think over 225 is a good spot.
I just want everyone to know that the crack producers and technical people on here have figured out how to bring your ugly asses back on the screen. So congratulations, Rob. Didn't skip a beat there. Fantastic job, fellas. Very good. So we got the whole gang here. So we've got 2 games under our belt here now, guys. We've covered the Hawks and Pistons. We've talked a little Wizards and Charlotte. I'm going to give you another game here, guys, that seems to it's got a few people interested. I can tell this from the movement here anyway. And that game is going to be the Dallas Mavericks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Cleveland is just a miserable, it's Cleveland. What are you going to do here? But the numbers keep creeping up, certainly from a total perspective here. Dallas at home is a 10-point favorite. Has Doncic, Ski, I'll start with you. Is Doncic already got a triple-double? I don't even think they played yet. Already he's got a triple-double, doesn't he?
Yeah, they marked it up already. You already know, Joe. But as far as this game, I think Dallas plays more towards the overs, and Cleveland plays more towards unders. I like Dallas in this game, but I would have to look at them early. First half, they're the number 1 first half in the team as far as points per game. On the other side, Cleveland is a fade, 5-9 first half against the spread. All the way down the board, the stuff I look at, last 5 game stats, offensive rating, defensive rating, rebound percentage, everything Dallas. I don't like the full game number, but I think at the half, and Dallas being 10-4 first half against the spread, I think they take care of business. -5.5 is not a big ask. Cleveland, first half points per game, they're last in the league, and second half, they pick it up a little bit to 16. So I like Dallas on the first half.
And what do you do, Brian? I don't know. I mean, obviously, there are some teams, of course, that we've got confidence in, and Dallas has got to be one of them this year. I mean, they've been scoring machines. I mean, he's been scoring machines, but I think even Rick Carlisle said this week, like, listen, he needs to enjoy it while he can because it's a long season and there's going to be some peaks and valleys. I mean, the kid's only 20 years old, Brian. Damn.
Yeah, he's awful impressive. In fact, last time these 2 teams played, I had Dallas in that game. I thought it was a very cheap number, and Dallas wins that game by 20 points. The only setback, in your thinking right here for Dallas is they're just coming off of that game where they blew out Golden State by 48 points. So you're playing them at a peak right now. In fact, the last 3 games, Dallas has played very well. And, Cleveland is as low as they've been all season. Just take a look at the last 4 games they've played. This is the average lead in the game for the 2 teams being played. The last game against Miami had an average of 17.7 point lead. The Knicks, 15.6 point lead. Philadelphia 18.0, Miami 14.8. So Cleveland's not even been competitive. They've been getting behind early in these games. I will say this is the first game that Cleveland's going to have all their leaders on the court again. for the beginning of this game because they've been resting, the Thompsons and the Loves, but they're all supposed to be playing tonight. So we should get a little bit better effort out of Cleveland tonight. It's really, I'm a Cavaliers fan, so I watch just about every game they play, and they've got so many young players. If you don't have Thompson and Love to settle everybody down, they could get blown out at any time, and that's really what's been happening this year.
All right, Rob, talk to us here, my man. Cleveland, Dallas, how much faith do you have that it is a double-digit number? I mean, it is 10 and a half. I mean, you trust Dallas to be able to get it done?
I trust these two teams to get over the number, Joe. Dallas has been kind to me where overs are concerned so far this season. You guys pointed out Luka Doncic. How could you not? He's probably, at this point in time, one of the 3 best offensive players in the NBA. Every night in and night out, he's asked to do quite a bit, and he comes through. If this gets to be a blowout situation, like the Golden State game did the other night, I remember this total was about 216 against Golden State. I think that's where it closed. And the concern, obviously, with an overplay in that contest was the game is such a blowout that Luka's going to get pulled in the second half, and we're going to see a bunch of second-teamers, and you're not going to get over the total. However, Dallas's bench has been pretty effective, guys, and they didn't play a heck of a lot of defense. I think Golden State scored 38 in the first half, scored 56 in the second half to get that thing up and over. So I'm not really concerned where Dallas, when Dallas is involved in these games that could turn into blowouts, not making the number. I don't think the numbers have been adjusted high enough yet. Of course, I'm probably asking more of Cleveland than I should to get this thing over the total, but I do think still with Love and Thompson's going to create trouble for Dallas fundamentally. The backcourt's still capable, Sexton and Garland, so I'm going to look over 222 here. Like I say, that number's Dallas's totals have been good to me so far. No reason to back off yet.
All right, there you go. Also, no reason for you guys to get the 2 places here today. Number 1, make sure you head over to WagerTalk.com. Why? Well, Ski and Bryan Leonard, their plays are up there. Very simple. Just go to the handicapping page there. The handicappers, you'll see Ski's page. You'll see Bryan's page. Their NBA plays are up, ready to rock and roll for the day. And, of course, then head over to sportsmemo.com. You got Rob Veno here. Rob will have his plays up there. Also, 11-2 in the NBA, 85% last couple of weeks here. So, been killing it there, Rob. And we like to do this, guys. I know we always like to go East Coast, West Coast to feature a game each night. With 10, it makes it a little bit easier than it did with 2 yesterday. But on the East Coast, let's focus on a team that I'm actually right down the road from me where I'm at right now, the Miami Heat, taking on the Chicago Bulls. And I got to tell you, I mean, we touched base on this a little bit early and a little earlier in the week, and I think The Athletic just did a really good story about Jimmy Butler being the bad guy. I think he's going to be heading back to Philadelphia at some point, if not over the weekend, next couple of days. So, Bryan, I'll start with you. I mean, A, are you surprised about the start that the Miami Heat have had? And B, are you disappointed with what we've seen thus far from the Chicago Bulls?
I think the Bulls are better in what they've shown. A lot of my numbers that I look at show that they're a better team than what their record is. And I do think they have some great young talent on that team. Miami's actually been a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't expect them to get out to this kind of a start with one of your key players coming to the organization. But I'm a big believer in Miami at this point. I think they're one of the teams that we could take advantage of. A lot of people aren't including them in the elite category. And I don't know if they're elite at this point, but they're a team that anytime I've looked to bet on them, or if it was a game that I thought I was going to bet on them, they seem to come through. The Bulls, on the other hand, are up and down, one of the most up and down teams, which you would expect out of a younger team. But, you know, when they look good, they look great, and when they look bad, they look like the Cavaliers. So it's hard to be able to put your money on a team that has got such a variance that the Bulls have. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm probably going to sit this one out here also.
You know, Ski, you got not a bad wave to have a guy like, Goran Dragic. You got the rookie Tyler Hero coming off the bench. They found this kid Nunn. Nobody knows where the hell he came from. You've got Jimmy Butler, and all of a sudden, guys, we got a winning formula here for Pat Riley and company. 4.5 is the number. 214.5 is what it opened up for a total between these two teams. I don't know. They're averaging about $120 away from the AAA arena anyway. So what do you think about this game? You a total or a side guy?
Well, I know my man Rob Veno has a total covered, so I'll look at the spread. Miami's been playing great. 7-2-1 against the spread last 10. These two probably coincide. 7-0 is a favorite, and 7-0 versus lesser competition. 45% win teams or greater. Or less. But something just stinks about this line. It's too cheap for me. Like, Miami only minus 4.5. Why? Down the board, I'm looking at the last 5 game stats. They win every single category. Bryan touched on, he doesn't think Chicago is this bad. I don't either. And Chicago 6-1-1 first half against the spread at home. I like the Bulls in the first half more than the full game because we see them collapse a few times in that fourth quarter. But I know Miami plays the Sixers tomorrow. It could be a look-ahead spot. Something just stinks about this game to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. The line, there was a bit of a head-scratcher there myself, and then I read the Athletic article. It's all about Jimmy Butler going back to Philadelphia. What's it going to happen? So would it surprise me? Look-ahead spot? No, but it's been a very profitable year for those of you back in Miami. And what do you think about it, Rob? Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls. Who do you like, and who are you surprised by the most here?
Yeah, a couple of things here, guys, in agreement with the table here, everything that's been said. I'm a fan of the way Miami's constructed, the fact that they got Goran Dragic back a couple of nights ago, and to bring him off the bench is really a plus for them. Their bench is pretty good, guys. I'd say they go 9 deep. They're just, like Bryan said, they're not the prettiest team to watch. They're not running up and down the floor and scoring 125 a game. But they're so good fundamentally on the defensive end. They're efficient on the offensive end. To Ski's point, that the line stinks here. I'll tell you what, and this goes to what Bryan said, too, about them being up and down. As a guy who keeps power ratings daily on all these teams, there's not a team that I adjust more during the week than the Chicago Bulls. Up a point, down a point and a half. Up a half a point, down a point. Up a point. They're all over the place. Now, as of tonight, I would say the line's padded. The power rating I have on this game shows Miami should be 2.5 on the road. That's with Miami upgraded with Dragic now being on the bench, and that's the way Chicago played in their most recent couple of games. When Zach LaVine goes off, they're trouble for anybody. Their small forward position, though, guys, is a real problem at this point in time. I never thought I'd come on a show and say that, not having Otto Porter Jr. is a big deal. But not having Otto Porter Jr. is a big deal. And beyond that, not having Chandler Hutchinson as backup is a big deal, to where it puts Shaquille Harrison as your starting small forward on this team right now, kid from Tulsa. So I don't know how much you get out of that position. Miami could probably dominate that matchup here. It's a tough game to handicap because I love Miami, but I do think in some regards, like Bryan said, the Bulls are way too tough to pinpoint, and my numbers show that Miami's about a couple points too high here.
Interesting. All right, guys, one game here on the West Coast that we'll take a look at, and we were it's Rockets Clippers here, guys. 10:30. It's a late game, of course, on the 10-game card here tonight, and Bryan, I'll start with you, man. It's -5 right now. Clippers, home team. Not sure if they got a load, off a load, in a load, bringing back a load. Everyone's on a load. Wouldn't you like to be a load, too? 228 is what it opened up for a total. 226 is what it looks like. It's been bet down a little bit here at this point. A lot of money. At least a lot of volume so far on this late game. I'm sure as the day progresses, it's going to get even more here. But what do you think, man? Rockets, Clippers, possibly a Western Conference final kind of situation.
I think sitting players out is in itself a load. It makes it so hard for us, and then we have to do this thing early in the morning, and Houston the other day when they went into Denver, I had Denver in that game. I thought that was a show-me game for Denver, and Houston, went in there and got beat. But this Houston team has been very impressive so far to me, especially, offensively, we knew they could do it, but defensively, they've actually played a lot better defenses of late. I mean, you go back their last 5 or 6 games, they haven't allowed 110 points or more. That's something we didn't see last year out of Houston. Houston's a pretty good team, man. I think the line is a little bit high here, just looking at what we get. But the problem is, with the Clippers, you'd like to have a set. Rob was talking power ratings. The Clippers, based on who is available that night, their power ratings can go so up and down. It's sort of like the Lakers, with their 2 stars. Without knowing who's going to play, it's tough to make these decisions. But I think Houston, regardless of who plays, 5 points to me is a little bit too high. It's saying the Clippers are better than Houston, and maybe they are. Maybe they're a point better. But in this situation, I think I'd rather take the points with the dog here and let this play out from the Clippers standpoint on who they're going to put up on the court tonight. And it's tough guessing that at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting, Ski. I mean, there's no doubt who's got the better depth and bench because Houston's bench is atrocious. They can't score, and that's the problem here. You're going to have to leave Harden and, Mr. Triple-Double out there for a while in order to be able to compete with Paul George. And if they play, I don't know, again, Brian's right. Load this. But they got depth. I mean, this is exactly what the Clippers are built for, to take down teams like Houston, isn't it?
I agree. And thinking about it, the Clippers have to start getting right. They can't continue to just rest one player on and off. They have to start getting some kind of chemistry. And I think they have to start doing it now. A point that you made, Houston bench, they're missing shooters. Eric Gordon, he's still out. House, he's game time decision. Those are 2 shooters right there. You look at the Clippers side, Shamet is out. That's a shooter over there. That's instant offense. I like the total in this one. The under is 8-2 at home for the Clippers. Under 7-1 on the road for Houston. It's went under 6 of the last 7 games for Houston. It's 2 of the top 5 defensive rated teams over the last 5 games. They don't play extremely fast. They just played on November 13th. The total ended 195. I like under. And as far as the side, I mean, I know Houston has been playing pretty good lately. 4-1 against the spread their last 5. Clippers not so well. But like I said, I think they start to get it going with both guys in the lineup.
All right, and that actually, the numbers moving your way opened up at 228. I'm seeing 226.5. So I'm seeing 227. So it's certainly going that way. And Rob Veno, what do you think, my man? This is 10:30 game. Going to be a lot of eyeballs all around the country on this game. Do you think this is a game where Houston goes, all right, let's see, don't forget about us?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think that if you absolutely despise the NBA and have never watched a game in your life, you'd probably want to turn this on just for the sideshow that is Patrick Beverley versus Russell Westbrook. I mean, that ought to be great tonight one more time. He can't guard or he can't defend Harden and Westbrook, so they're going to have to call on their other guard to do some damage to James Harden, but he's just unstoppable as it is. Listening to you guys, here's a few things. Ski brought up a point that I was going to bring up, and I just combined the numbers. The Rockets away total and the Clippers home total, as far as over-under is concerned, he separated them out. Those 2 teams have played 18 games in that situation so far this year. Road for Rockets, home for Clippers. Those games are 15-3 under the total. That's a strong number to bet against. And when you have a total as high as we have here, perhaps we see an under in this game. I think to Brian's point about how Houston has played better defensively, I think that all correlates to Clint Capella. I mean, when Clint Capella's in the middle for that team, they're a good defensive team. He was hurt beginning of the year. We saw D'Antoni complaining about his team's defense early in the year, but slowly but surely that's getting straightened out here. The Clippers were off that OT game the other night against the Celtics a couple nights ago. Real nail-biter right to the end, 107-104. Final score there under the number. I think at their best, the LA Clippers are maybe they can slow the Rockets down a little bit here. So I would be, if I had to play this game, I would be on the under. I think the trend is too strong to step in front of so far this season, and I think that the way these 2 teams have been playing defense, also a reason why you'd want to go under 226.5.
All right, so it's in. We got a little look here at the total. We got to look at an East Coast game. We got to look at the West Coast primetime game. And now, of course, it's time to take a look at who the guys love. And by the way, I'll give you an interesting trend that popped up here regarding that Houston Clippers game. Houston is 4-20-1 over/under as a dog, and the Clippers are 1-7 over/under as a home favorite. So looks like Houston as a dog. 20 unders, guys, only to 4 overs. So it's definitely, by the way, the Clippers, same thing. Home favorite -5 in this game, 1-7 to the under, which tells me that the under that's the reason why the market is moving the way it is moving right now. All right, guys, so let's go around the horn here. I know your plays are up at not only WagerTalk.com, but also SportsMemo.com. You can catch Rob's plays at SportsMemo.com. Of course, Ski and Bryan Leonard, you got everything you need there at WagerTalk.com. And Ski, I'll start with you, man. We always like to talk a little plus money. We like to look at dogs. It is a Friday. Will the dogs be barking on this 10-game schedule? And if so, is there a dog that you're looking at?
You know, I have to put my 3-3 dog record on the line today, and it's not one that I extremely love. But like I said before, the line kind of stinks to me, and I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bulls.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, dude. I mean, you've been saying it. That's it, man. And sometimes the gut feeling is the best feeling, man. That it just if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably not a duck. Bryan Leonard, talk to me. Is there a plus? Is there a plus thing? Don't forget, we love our dogs here.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the Boston Celtics tonight. Their 5th game of a 5-game road trip. They're 2-2 so far. They need a win tonight to be happy off of this road trip. And then they've got the next 2 days off before they got to play Sacramento at home on Monday. So it's a good situational spot for Boston. And we talked about Denver the other day. Denver, that game against Houston was a real proving game for Denver. Denver's one of those teams that has a lot of talent, but I don't think they're living up to the talent, and they're not covering spreads. So I like Boston in the game, and I sprinkle me some Celtic dust here on this one also.
I like that. Opened up as a 4.5-point Denver Nugget home favorites. Moved up to 5 in a lot of books. 206 seems to be the total, hanging strong. Rob Veno, what do you think, my man? We need a little plus money. Where are you looking at on the board here?
Yeah, Joe, I'll go to what may be the smallest underdog on the board here tonight, but I think probably, in my view, the most capable of winning the game straight up, and that's the Sacramento Kings, a team that's covered 8 in a row now. It's surprising to me the positive direction this team has taken since losing De'Aaron Fox. No De'Aaron Fox, no Marvin Bagley III, but yet they've been able to really play better offensively and come together defensively. It's as much a fade of the Brooklyn Nets as it is a play on the Sacramento Kings here, because head coach Kenny Atkinson, I like when these head coaches can't figure things out for the time being. And right now, Kenny Atkinson's at a crossroads to where, if you read his quotes this morning, he said, we're going to have to come up with something offensively, because the last 5, 6, 7 games, we have not been good on offense whatsoever. And they're reaching for answers without Kyrie Irving in the lineup. Surprise, Kyrie takes off, and the offense doesn't know how to operate because it operates through him so much. So give me the Sacramento Kings tonight. Short price plus the 1.5. Bogdanovich not playing would be a concern of mine, but he's still listed as questionable. If he goes, it's a definite play, Sacramento.
I just like all you needed was a couple of big men. You needed a little toughness, Brooklyn, and you had yourself a team that would compete for the next. Well, by the way, the report is that I think the report is that Kyrie is in a timeout. He got a little sensitive earlier this week, I guess. He's not happy and a little moody. He's gone home. They're sending him cookies and flowers. He'll be okay. I have no idea what you did, Brooklyn. You ruined. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You can just add a little something. You'd have been fine this year, you stupid. But hey, listen, you get what you deserve there. And now, of course, guys, one of our favorite times of the show is when we find a bag of money in the streets of L.A. and Vegas. And Bryan Leonard has already notified us that if he did find that bag of money, he'd leave that crap right where he found it, because he had hell no. It's got set up written all over it. But I'll start with you there, Bryan. You come across that envelope in the street, man, $1,000. You got to play it at the window. The hell you playing on, man?
Oh, man. I like the Sacramento handicap. I like that also. there's not a lot out there that I like tonight. So I'll double up on Rob's Sacramento play. I've got them graded much higher than Brooklyn here, and if you take a look at Sacramento, started the season very badly. In fact, they were 0 whatever at one point, and you just watched them, and they just weren't. The kids weren't having fun playing. Ever since then, they played much better ball. They're one of the hottest teams in the league right now, and Brooklyn's one of those teams that you never know what you're going to get out of it. And as was pointed out about having to get these guys in and out of the lineup, you don't know. There's no correlation between, or there's no. It's hard to build a team for the playoffs when some of the key players don't play with each other, and Kyrie being out really hurts Brooklyn there. So yeah, I'll use Sacramento as my play in this regard.
That's a good thing it's not your dime, is it, huh? You found it, Leonard. See? You like that? Ski, talk to me, brother. You find that G. What are you doing with it?
I wanna share a little extra today. Is that all right? Can I do two?
Please do, man. Show and tell, baby. Come on.
All right, so I talked about the Detroit game already, and I wanted to fade Atlanta on the first half on the road. They're 2-5 against the spread, and Detroit is 4-2 first half against the spread at home. They've been losing all of these games. They had some time to get Luke Kennard and Blake Griffin going together. I like Detroit early. That's one half. And then the next game, I'm going to the Lakers. They just played OKC. OKC kind of gave them a fit. I don't want to go against OKC on the first half. They're a great first half team. Lakers sometimes start off a little bit slow. And I heard some chirping from the OKC side saying that they slowed LeBron James down a little bit. I think he's motivated. I think 4 points is just a little bit. I think they can cover that number. So I like those two. I'll split it in half, 500, 500.
All right, look at that. Look at that, man. Look at it, getting the bang for the buck here. I love it. By the way, you opened up 4.5. There's money coming in, but it ain't towards the Lakers. It's down to 4 here. I'm seeing in a lot of places. The total hanging strong there at 211. So, all right, Veno, let's face it, man. You come across, you got $1,000 in an envelope. You run into the window, man. What are you playing?
First of all, anybody who has college degrees to any degree, I would much prefer the common sense of Bryan Leonard, whose street smarts would lead him to leave that bag of money right in the middle of the road in L.A. because that's what I would do.
He already played, all right? So, no, he thought about it, and he took a whiff of it. He felt it, and that was the end of it. Leonard got screwed. He's done. He's already in a dumpster behind the alley somewhere.
Love your common sense and your street smarts, Bryan. Leave that money where it is. If you saw my fist go up and come down when Ski was talking, it's because he said that part of his little parlay there was going to be the LA Lakers, and I thought he was going to steal some of my thunder, but he didn't. I'm going to agree with him, though, wholeheartedly, but I like the Lakers' first half, -1.5, for a lot of the reasons that he mentioned. The quick turnaround, the scare that LA got. I don't think LA took Oklahoma City seriously watching that game the other night until all of a sudden they were life and death at the end and had to pull that thing out. The look on LeBron's face late fourth quarter was not one of a guy who was overly confident at that point in time. I think they come out ready for bear in this contest Friday night. They've had a night, they've had a day off in between. I know it's a Friday night in Oklahoma City, but it's also a Friday night game for the Lakers to show up to. And I think they're going to get going right from the opening tip, guys. So give me the Lakers -1.5 first half. Hopefully Ski and I can both cash on the same game.
All right. Does anybody have a prop bet that they got going on here tonight? Ski, how many envelopes are you going to find? What's the over-under here? How many envelopes with $1,000 in? Not zero? No. Okay, fine. How would you?
Nah, no more envelopes, please. We'll get in trouble at some point.
Are you going Capella rebounds again here tonight? That was a winning prop for you there the other night.
That was a great one.
Yep.
I didn't really look at too many of the props. I was so caught up in all of the games. Yep. So I don't feel too confident, but I am confident in LeBron having a good game. So if I'm playing anything, I would look to back him tonight.
There you go. All right, guys. The plays are up, man. All you got to do is head over to WagerTalk.com. That's it, man. Start at WagerTalk.com. You got Ski, you got Bryan. Look at that, the NBA layup. It's right there for you, ready to rock and roll. Not just today, guys, but of course all weekend long. And never worry about missing a play. All you got to do is grab 3 days, grab 7 days, grab 30 days. The packages are available. Get yourself the all access. Get access to every one of the plays. Never miss it. And don't forget, head over right now, sportsmemo.com as well. Rob Veno's plays are up. He's ready to go. And again, a 3-7 30-day package, guys, doesn't hurt. You get every play across all sports from all of these guys simply by getting over to sportsmemo.com and WagerTalk.com. It's that simple. So on behalf of Ski here and Bryan Leonard and Rob Veno, remember, if you lose $1,000 on the ground, don't ever worry about these guys picking it up because they're the moral high ground on this show is just over the top. But we appreciate it. Good luck to your plays over there, guys. Thank you very much for making yourselves available. Good luck. Get to WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. Come back and join us again on Monday. We'll be doing it all over again, getting you ready to be a very profitable start to your Monday in the NBA. It's another edition of the NBA Tip-Off powered by WagerTalk.com. Good luck, guys. Thanks.